how do I improve my prayer life? Like my prayer life, it feels dull. It feels static. It feels routine. Like just, am I getting anything out of this? Is anything happening? Am I changing? Is the Lord hearing me? I feel like I'm going through the motions, and I think we could all be honest and say, yeah, there's been seasons where we've walked through that. that was random. Where we've all had seasons where we feel like we're, in a rut in our prayer life. And so yeah, just a couple of thoughts to share on that. I know that was out of nowhere. First, I just thought it was a random scream or a jump scream or something, but no, it was the Home Alone thing where the spider's on his face. Add points, yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, in a rut. I so get that scream, yeah. Well, that was timing. Not good timing, but timing. What's up, Gamer Mickey? Good to see you. Yeah, so just a few things, a few thoughts. Thank you so much for that. Oh my goodness. A gifted sub from Mr. Waz. Thank you. To Doliak Dan? I missed the hype train. Oh yeah, it said like hype train incoming or something. No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. But I think one of the key things of, well, first let me say, well, like I said, we've all kind of been in that rut season of our own prayer life. Cultivating a prayer life is something that happens intentionally. It doesn't happen by accident. It's not something you just fall into. It takes intentionality. I wouldn't say it takes work. I mean, I guess you work at it, but it's something that you have to be, you decide to do. You're dedicated to. You're intentional about it. And it's something that I've had to do in my own life as well. Growing up, I was very regular about my prayer life. I would pray in the mornings. I would pray as I was laying down at bedtime, and often I would fall asleep mid-prayer, and then the next morning I would feel like, oh, Lord, I'm so sorry I fell asleep in the middle of our conversation. I remember thinking that a lot. I was like, I don't remember saying amen. I think I just fell asleep while I was praying last night. Did that probably most nights, honestly, as a kid. I would pray before meals. I would pray at church, but that was about the extent of it, honestly. I prayed at certain points of my day, regularly, routinely, honestly. I mean, they were genuine, honest prayers, but that was the extent of it. It wasn't until, early adulthood, really, where I started growing in my prayer life. And I've told this story before, but the moment, I guess, that I remember it really kind of shifting was I was at I think it was just our district council thing, an annual meeting that we do of all the ministers in our fellowship. And one day there were, I guess, breakout sessions or something, and I went to one on prayer. And, it was maybe a 2 hour and a half, something like that session. And whoever was leading it, I don't remember who, but I was like, so I'm not going to teach on prayer today. You're not going to learn anything new about prayer today. You know what prayer is. You know how to pray. Today, I'm going to challenge you in prayer. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pray for the next hour and a half or 2 hours, audibly, praying out loud for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it was. And so everyone's like, oh yeah, cool. That sounds good. Let's do it. Let's go for it. By like challenging yourself in that, I remember we all kind of had our own moments where we had that little breakthrough moment, because as you start to pray out loud, we're just walking around and praying, after about 5-10 minutes, something like that, you feel like, okay, well, I ran out of things to pray, but there's still another 90 minutes. What am I supposed to do? And you push through, and it's like you hit this wall. And for me, like I said, it was, 10 minutes or something. kind of pushed through that wall, and then the next 90 minutes flew by, because it's just like, then all of a sudden it's an ongoing conversation with the Lord. So I remember that day very distinctly, but ever since then, ongoing prayer and long periods of prayer have just become natural for me. They've become the norm for me. So say all that to say that it does take intentionality. It doesn't just happen by accident. That was kind of what sparked a new depth of prayer, a new depth of my prayer life, was that 2-hour like forced challenge on me. And I know last time I told this story, I don't remember who it was, but someone was bringing up scriptures about don't pray long, lofty prayers like the Pharisees, thinking they'll be heard for their many words. I was like, well, yeah, that wasn't Jesus's point. He wasn't saying you can't pray for a long time. He was saying their motivation was thinking they'd be heard for their many lofty words. No, you can pray. It should just be you and God, not praying for the benefit of others. Go into your prayer closet and pray in secret. Those kind of scriptures, they all still apply. But it was just odd to me that people were like, balking at it, like, no, don't pray for a long time, because then you're like Pharisee. No, just make sure your heart's in the right place. I'm doing it because I want to grow in my prayer life. But I'm also reminded of Daniel. In fact, here, let's pull it up. There's Bible. In Daniel, I guess it's 6, right? Yeah, here. Because Daniel 6, it's, the story everyone's familiar with, Daniel in the lion's den. But remember, it was like the high officials, the satraps, governors, whatever. They didn't like Daniel, and they wanted to find some way to trick him, to trap him, to get him in trouble, to get him thrown out, something. But they couldn't find any fault in him. He hadn't done anything wrong. So they were like, well, the only way we're going to, trap him is if we trap him in relation to, the laws of his God or something, because he's very devout. He follows, his God, but so we got to figure out some way to trick him, to trap him. So they go to the king. King, is this Darius at this point? I think it's Darius. I don't see it, but yeah, it's Darius. Yeah, right there. And they're like, hey, King Darius, we had a wonderful idea. What if you sign a law where anyone who, prays to anyone except you, anyone who honors someone other than you, they're thrown into the lion's den. Let's just say for the next 30 days. What do you think? And it's like, yeah, I like that idea. It sounds great. Signs it into law, can't be revoked. And then, here, I put it at 10, so that's at the top of the screen. It says, when Daniel knew that the document had been signed, he went to his house where he had windows in the upper chamber open toward Jerusalem. He got down on his knees 3 times a day and prayed and give thanks before his God as he had done previously. Goofball with the 16-month resub. Thank you so much, man. Wow. Incredible. Thank you so much. Seriously, I know I say thank y'all so much, but thank you so much for all the love, all the support. Y'all are incredible. Thank you. Or as, my heart translation, New King James says, as was his custom. But that's kind of the point here. So Daniel knows about this because he's a high-ranking dude there too, even though they're in captivity, whatever. He's highly respected. Darius loves Daniel. And whenever he knows about this law, he's like, whatever. I'm not changing what I do. My point here is that he had a routine. He had a set time that he went to pray. It was his custom. It's what he had already been doing. It's as he had been doing previously. It didn't change him. It didn't throw him off. He just kept doing what he had always done. He went to go spend time with God. So another practical thing there is setting a time to pray. some people have very busy, hectic schedules, and you feel like you have to schedule those times. There's nothing wrong with scheduling that time. Schedule that time. Set a time where you don't miss that time. Also, I love the idea of, this might sound like instead of, but if you can do both, better. The idea of like praying without ceasing, just having an ongoing conversation with the Lord throughout the day, as you're driving, as you're at work, as you're, whatever, just going about your life, being mindful of the Lord, having this ongoing dialogue with the Lord in your mind, in your head. He knows the prayers before they come out of our mouth. He knows what's in our heart. He knows what's on our mind. So be mindful of the Lord throughout the day. Audible praying is a good, helpful practice too, I think. Praying out loud, hearing your own prayers, because sometimes if we're praying, just thinking our prayers, if we always just think our prayers, maybe I'll say it that way. If we always think our prayers, then sometimes it's just like the stream of consciousness that like one thought goes into another, goes into another, goes into another. And it's like, okay, I kind of thought about each of the things I want to pray for. But if we stop to slow down to actually articulate them, there seems to be more of an impact. We, at least for myself, we feel a little more rooted in that, like praying it out loud, saying it. Prayer journals are a really helpful way to incorporate or to grow in your own prayer life too. Writing down the things that you're praying about. When you see answers come, writing down when the answer came, put a date by it. Like write those things down. Keep track of the faithfulness of God, how God is moving, how God is responding. That's awesome. Using like bringing someone else into it, a prayer partner, like an accountability partner, but for prayer specifically. I remember my dad, he would do this with this other man in our church growing up all the time. I would overhear their conversations at night when I was a kid, and they would talk every single night. It was just him and another man at our church. They're both great, godly men, whatever, good friends. They talk trash and whatever all the time, but they were also solid believers. And at night, they would pray with each other over the phone. Back in the day, had landlines, whatever, so I'd hear him and see him there. They would pray with and for each other over the phone, and they would ask each other about, what'd you read in the Word today? Because they would challenge each other to make sure you're reading through the Bible. So they did that. But bringing someone else into it, having a prayer partner, an accountability partner in your prayer life, in your reading. What else? Chat, I haven't even looked at chat. Any other ideas? Any thoughts y'all have? I mean, there's many ways that people grow in their prayer life. These are just some that I've done, things that have worked in my own personal life. But yeah, I'd love to hear some of y'all's thoughts.